That's tough.
Can I ask you guys from a player perspective, because Wake Forest, legend, Clemson, legend, Albion College, legend, right?
College.
Three guys who were known to put up some numbers here. If
Look
you
at Rob
were
looking at you.
if you were in the portal era, like obviously you don't need to come out and say like I would have transferred unless that's actually the story. But like there's something to the idea of like getting recruited and greener pastures and all that, right?
There's part of me that would have said like I need to put my name in or something like that. I think more so. I liked Clemson. I liked living there. I obviously liked living there. I still live there. But I have a lot of respect for the fact that the NCAA finally, and it should have happened back when I was playing, allowed to get more information and to have representation to where you can get honest feedback. We talked about this last year. We don't need to hash into it all that much. But like if I had more information, I'd stay at Clemson for 4 years. Like the fact of the matter was we didn't. I didn't have access. I had to cannonball in order to get that information. And by the time I was already out there, it was too deep for me to swim back. So that's kind of the thing that stinks about the whole thing. For me, now, I'm not mad. There's going to come a point where, everybody's going to enter the transfer portal at the end of the season because it's going to be a negotiation trick, which I talked to an assistant coach at the Conference USA level today. He's like, it's only a matter of time. Everybody just puts their name in because why wouldn't they?
The thing for me is, you kind of brought it up, T.O. There's a level of comfortability, like being in a spot and being at a school. I personally, at my school, I like being there. I really couldn't see myself going somewhere else. But on the flip side of that, I also love attention. And I know that, the attention would have been great.
That is awesome.
Well, yeah,
The attention would have been great. I'm an NIL bomb waiting to happen if I'm playing back then.
You're also a big run from the grind guy. Like if you hit a little adversity, like you're very much team.
That means
don't fight through it.
That means that out of his 4 chances of being in the portal, 2 of them probably wouldn't have been his choice. It might have been like, you know what, you ain't working hard enough, man. You got to get up out of here.
Yeah, I would have seen transfer portal papers under my dorm door, like where are these coming from?
You would have got the speech. You know what? I just think it's best for both of us. I need a fresh start.
We've grown apart. We've really grown apart these last couple months.
He would have been the only person to have been like, I got hacked. I somehow ended up in the portal, and it wasn't you.
People are saying, like, I'm in the portal. Wait, what?
I would have loved to had a crack at it, though. Yeah. I would have loved to have been able to get a little NIL money.
Oh, it's fun, but is it not getting a little bit out of? Isn't it a little? It's a little crazy.
It's not a little much.
It's not. It's not.
Don't
not
touch it.
NIL. Not NIL. I'm talking about the portal stuff. It's hard to keep up. I mean, it really. It's. I mean, I thought I saw the number the other day. It's at 1,300 already.
Take care of your guys. If your guys like you and they understand their role the whole time,
you knew this
that's
was going
huge.
to happen to you too, because once you gave that COVID year, you basically said kids coming out of high school, everybody in college gets another year. And then whoever is coming in, we'll figure it out. And so now I got a chance to say, all right, between the 4 of us, one of us ain't going to be on the roster. I get to call you no matter what your class is and just say, because you know what it did? It helped coaches say, where it used to be you come to school and you're just there for 4 years. Yeah. Now it became to where everybody understands it's a year-to-year negotiation. So now coaches are inside saying, you know what, they can walk into a room. Whereas I take Dion for football, right? When he takes over Colorado and says, all right, all you guys need to get in the portal. They would have crucified him years ago had he came in there and said that. It's like, hey, when you walk through the door, they're your guys. Yeah. Whether you recruited them or you're not. That's just typical speech. Now everybody knows it's year to year. Whether you like it or you don't, it's just part of it, and you got to make the best of it.
So let me ask you this, because
how much money is Randolph Childress making after he crosses over a guy, he falls down, and he gives him the bird before knocking it through?
The T-shirts that be printed, I mean, come on.
T-shirts, I mean.
Hey.
Everything.
I would have taken it all.
That's what they call it. That's why they call it $1 million move.
Yeah, I would have. I would have
taken
it all.
You would have made $1 million.
We're still talking about it however many years later. I'm sure you could have made some money off.
You know what's crazy is like, I would have made considerable coin. Because this is crazy.
This feels like a red table talk or something.
We got T.O. in a bad spot.
I would have made some considerable coin because this is not a lie. Jersey sales in the state of South Carolina, basketball number 22 was second in the state. Clemson jersey.
What was first?
C.J. Spiller.
Okay.
Not bad. There would have been some money. I'm a little pissed. There was good money. Sure.
Today's episode of the Field of 68 After Dark is presented by our partners over at Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play college basketball pick'em. where you can win real cash prizes simply by picking player stats in this weekend's Final Four games. And pick 'em, all you do is pick whether a player will go higher or lower on Underdog's projected totals, whether it's points or rebounds or assists or all of them combined. If you're like me and you think Adama Sanogo is going to go nuts this weekend, pick higher on his points projection, pick higher on his rebounds projection, maybe throw in a lower on Matt Bradley's scoring totals, a higher on Isaiah Wong, whatever it is that you like. Put them all together, and if you hit them all, then you can win as much as 20 times your money on a single game. Underdog's slick mobile app is easy enough that dummies like Jeff Goodman have even figured out how to use it. So go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app and use the code FIELD, that's FIELD, to get a 100% deposit match up to $100.
What'd you say?
I said a little money there. Made a little money. No?
Little money.
Man,
I'm not saying I'm buying a yacht, but like
Think of how much crypto you could have had, CZ.
that's right. That's right.
Jesus.
Dude, could you imagine if I bought crypto with that exact same money that I would have made for my jerseys?
I'm not sure
It might have been
here.
No, it wouldn't be. Would have been here.
Yeah, crazy.
It would have been the Phil 68.
Crazy.
Been called something else. I was
So-
trying to think of something funny. I can't come up with it.
So I was going to ask you this because you're sitting next to a Michigan State fan in Carter Elliott, whose coach is the loudest vocal opposition guy in the sport of the transfer portal. Can he survive? Because you just alluded to the fact that this is the sport now. Everybody has to adjust. Michigan State made a Sweet 16 this year, good recruiting class next year. What do you think is the eventual outcome for a guy who so loudly opposes the transfer portal in Tom Izzo?
Listen, we joke about it all the time, but I told you, I think he's probably my favorite coach in college basketball. Whether you think he's the best, I know people he's confrontational with his guys, but he also has that relationship with them that allows them to communicate that way with him. I'm a big Tom Izzo fan, and I think he's one of the best in the business. If you can make the argument, the best. I don't know. I think if he doesn't, I think it could hurt him from probably getting a national championship. I think he's too good of a coach where it doesn't matter. You give him 3 good players and 2 guys that can walk and chew gum, and he's just gonna figure out a way to get into the tournament. He's just that good.
Can Madi Sissoko walk and chew gum? Do we know that, Kurt?
It's a game by game basis thing. I feel like, but the thing is, it's okay if he could come out and say whatever he wants about it. But behind closed doors, you look at the team we've added: Tyson Walker, transfer. I mean, Joey Hauser.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's done it.
It's more so of like I'm against it, but at the same time, behind closed doors, I'm refreshing the portal page because I'm gonna get a guy.
I think part of what he's saying, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think what he's saying too is it was supposed to be limitations on the one time. It was supposed to be called the one-time transfer.
Yeah.
And then now, to his argument that everybody's getting a waiver. Because once I just say, hey, I got to transfer and someone...
And then the grad transfer, too. So you basically get 2 and 4 years because most kids are graduating in 3 years anyway. We're going to learn a lot about...
Everybody didn't go to Clemson.
Well, come on, baby. They got to go to summer school.
I need it down to my last day to graduate.
Hey, some of those guys that were at Wake Forest when I was playing, we ain't going to talk about that.
Hey, they didn't graduate in 3 years. They just didn't graduate.
That's right. They just didn't graduate.
They just didn't graduate.
Yeah, that's right. No, but I think we're going to learn a lot about the portal and kind of how the NCAA, if they're going to regulate it at all this summer. Because I don't think they're going to. But the second-time transfer, are they going to make them sit? Like you're going to see a lot of 2- and 3-time transfers early, still with years of eligibility. Are they going to be able to make those guys sit? That's the biggest thing next. I think that's the biggest thing on the agenda for the summer.
I don't know how they do it because if I'm one of those guys and I say I have a mental illness or a mental health issue,
You should have got it right on the first 2 tries,
then
no?
I don't think anybody's going to get. How do you dance that line again?
Wow.
So I just don't. I don't know how do you stop that, and I don't think it can't happen until, unfortunately, the federal government has to get involved. Because if you leave it up to universities and states, one state going to do one thing and another state to do something else. So it has to be done.
Well, that's what's happening right now.
That's what I'm saying. And so to be competitive, other states are just going along and getting along. And if you don't get the federal government involved to help regulate it, then it's going to continue to be the Wild Wild West.
Yeah. Fun times, right? Isn't this fun?
It's interesting. It's certainly interesting. I mean, it's really tough to keep up with. Like that's the thing. Like I was in favor of the transfer portal for the standpoint of like, hey, guys are you need to take care of your guys. Like you can't just be a jerk to whoever you're playing, like you have on the floor. That's the big thing. Like, take care of your guys, make them comfortable. Bob Ritchie's only got one available spot, and he's got one transfer that's transferring to play for one of his ex-assistants who got a head job.
Let me ask you this, and I wondered this. I'm not saying it's true, but I you know how you're sitting around, you're thinking about things. I wonder if some of the traditional blue bloods that we talk about, one of the advantage that, and not just blue bloods, like elite programs, or really good programs, one advantage that they always had was they had depth. Guys would go there and they would wait. Mm-hmm. That's part of what they're no longer doing. So I think that's part of the parity that you're seeing is that they're just no, and I'm not even going back as far as when I was playing. Like guys even 10 years ago or so would go to a school because it was that school. They grew up wanting to go there and they would wait. Now it's like, I'm not going there to come behind to play behind T.O. for a year. I don't care if he's a senior or whatever. It's like, T.O. needs to be a senior, then I'm coming in. I'm not coming if he's a freshman or sophomore. Yeah, right. And so, like, that's what I think. That's why I think they're complaining.
I say it's too much money for the player to lose. I'm not saying there's too much money involved, because to be honest with you guys, I think, they need to, NIL stuff, let it roam. Like, just let it go. Just let it go. It's not the federal government's responsibility. Just let that go.
Cheers to that. Yeah, it's just like, what you're alluding to, a blue blood who could find themselves in a predicament here. How about UConn with Adama Sanogo? They could bring him back next year. They got a guy in Donovan Clingan.
But they can't, because he's not American, so he can't get NIL money.
There's a will, there's a way.
I'm just saying.
And if there's money, there's definitely a way.
He has an I-20, right? So I don't know if he can. He's not allowed.
There's a direct
under
flight
the
from.
rules.
There's a direct flight from.
I'm just telling you that's what the rules are.
There's a direct flight from Newark to the Bahamas.